Hey there, educator friend. Welcome. In today's explainer, we're outlining exactly what it takes to land a teaching job abroad. If you've been dreaming of taking your classroom global, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the exact actionable steps you need to take right now to position yourself for the 2027 to 2028 international hiring cycle. But first, let's just be honest about why you're probably tuning in. Are you feeling totally overworked and frankly underpaid teaching in your home country right now? Sadly, it's a reality for so many of us in the modern education system. You might be dealing with overcrowded classrooms, endless standardized testing, mounting stress, and just this lingering feeling that you're missing out on life. You're surviving, sure, but you're definitely not thriving. Okay, let's dive into this because this contrast is exactly why so many teachers are making the leap. On one side, we have the typical US or UK teaching reality. We're talking burnout, overflowing rosters, and compensation that barely covers your basic cost of living. But on the other side, we have the EduPat reality. Imagine global travel as a baseline, smaller class sizes where you can actually teach, and incredible perks like tax-free savings, housing allowances, and annual flights home. It is, quite literally, a complete paradigm shift. To get you to that new reality, here's our roadmap. We'll cover why it's time for your EduExit, followed by 5 crucial steps: clarifying and researching, polishing your profile, mastering the interview, navigating contracts and visas, and finally, preparing emotionally. Successful EduPats prepare early, so let's get into it. Section 1, time for your EduExit. So there are 5 essential steps educators absolutely must take to make this transition smoothly. And, this framework actually draws heavily on the journey of Kimberly Braxton. She's an international educator who spent over 20 years in the US system before just hitting a wall of burnout. But she took the leap to Abu Dhabi and Brazil, proving that your skills travel exceptionally well. We aren't just talking about packing a bag and hopping on a plane here. This is a highly strategic career move. Let's break these down one by one. Step 1. Clarify and research. Before you even peek at a single job board, you really have to define your why. Are you doing this for financial freedom, a better lifestyle, professional growth? Your why is basically going to act as your compass through all of this. There's this fascinating study from Monash University on expatriate teachers, and it found that travel in this context isn't just a long vacation. Actually, scratch that, it's way more than that. It's an integral part of your professional development. Working in international schools brings what researchers call a transnational identification, which is just a fancy way of saying a deeply global perspective that permanently evolves how you teach and how you see the world. Now, what's really interesting about this is that true research goes way beyond just looking at the salary number on a contract. For example, a super high salary in an expensive city might actually yield way less savings than a moderate salary in a location with a really low cost of living. It's a balancing act. You need to thoroughly research school types like IB, British, or American curricula, along with local cultural norms, safety, and the specific teaching license requirements for that particular region. Step 2. Polish your profile. You see, the international job market is incredibly competitive, and recruiters are looking for highly specific things that differ quite a bit from your local public school district. Your international CV needs to be tight. We're talking 2 to 3 pages maximum. You absolutely must clearly highlight your subject specialization and specific curriculum experience. Whether that's IB, Next Generation Science Standards, or Common Core, put it front and center. Also, keep in mind that a professional photo is often expected, especially if you're looking at roles in the Middle East. And hey, while your years of professional development back home are fantastic, you've got to translate that experience on paper to show genuine global adaptability. Step 3. Master the interview. Okay, getting the interview is really only half the battle. Now you have to bridge the gap between your home country experience and the global expectations of an international hiring committee. The absolute gold standard for doing this? The STAR method. That stands for situation, task, action, and result. International schools just love behavioral questions. They want to know exactly how you handle conflict, how you adapt to sudden changes, and how you lead. The STAR method basically gives you a framework to tell concise, results-oriented stories that perfectly align with the direct communication style valued by international directors. So the crucial point here is a major mindset shift. You need to start using I instead of we. Educators are naturally collaborative folks, so we default to saying our team did this or we accomplished that. But in an interview setting, you have to prove your individual impact. Be explicitly clear about what you personally directed, managed, or changed. Don't be shy about owning your success. Step 4. Contracts and visas. Now we are getting into the most logistical step of the entire process. But honestly, it's arguably the most critical. A high salary means absolutely nothing if your contract is weak or your visa status is legally murky. When you're reviewing offers, look for these non-negotiables: a housing allowance or provided apartment, annual FIT benefits, comprehensive medical insurance, and, if you're bringing a family, guaranteed school places for your dependents. Recent insights from the FOBICI Leadership Conference actually show that international schools are realizing they have to offer much more flexible, robust benefits to retain top talent right now. So for sure, do not be afraid to ensure your needs are fully met. And this brilliantly illustrates why you need to be careful, because there are vast differences in how work permits are handled globally. In Asia, for instance, schools almost entirely sponsor and handle your Z visa or E2 visa for you. Super straightforward. But in Europe, non-EU citizens often have to rely on student visas or auxiliary language assistant programs. Meanwhile, Latin America often involves in-country processing or leveraging those new digital nomad visas. Aligning your destination expectations with its visa reality early on is going to save you a massive amount of headaches.
Step 5. Prepare emotionally.
Believe it or not, this is the step most teachers completely skip, and it's the exact reason some end up breaking their contracts and going home early. Structured tools like the EduExit content plan offer a really guided way to handle this transition. You don't have to navigate the homesickness, the culture shock, or even just the logistics of packing all by yourself. Tapping into structured communities and actionable plans helps you mentally prepare for the reality that your new home is going to be very, very different from your old one.
Have you ever traveled somewhere and thought a local custom was just, well, wrong? When you move abroad, your brain is going to scream that these new ways of doing things are totally inefficient. But the required mindset shift here is humility. You need to replace "this is wrong" with "this is contextual." Every weird norm exists for a reason, right? Highly successful international educators approach their host culture by observing and listening, rather than immediately barging in and trying to fix things.
Let's move to our final section, taking action for 2027 to 2028, and see how this all builds together. All right, here is a serious timeline reality check. The recruitment cycle for top-tier international schools in Asia and the Middle East starts as early as Term 1. We are talking October or November. Dreaming is great, but planning is what actually gets you on the plane. If you wait until the spring to start looking, the best packages and the most supportive schools will literally already be fully staffed. The urgency of early preparation just cannot be overstated here. Remember, successful edupats prepare early. So what exactly should you do right now? Well, here is your toolkit for the 2027 to 2028 cycle. First, grab the EduExit International Educator Readiness Checklist to get all your documents in perfect order. Second, enroll in the mini course to get structured, step-by-step guidance on your job hunt. And third, make sure to subscribe to the EduExit Substack to stay totally plugged into a community of educators doing the exact same thing. All these resources are ready and waiting for you, taking the guesswork completely out of the equation and giving you the clarity and confidence to move forward. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. 2027 is the year of yes. So will you say yes to yourself? You have the skills. The international schools have the need. It is officially time to stop surviving your career and start thriving in it. Take control, grab those resources we talked about, and step right into your global adventure. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.